Hi, 7th grade. Alright, so we are going to do lesson 2.2. That's on page 52. And we are going to go through some of this. Now, some of this is review for you because you remember how to add and subtract fractions. When you add and subtract, you have to have common denominators. But the whole chapter, the main idea of the entire chapter is adding rational numbers, which means you'll be adding negatives with negatives, you'll be adding positive with positives. And so I guess here's the big things that I really, really, really need you to remember, okay? I'm going to go over here and make a note of it so that you guys can focus on this just for a second. The big things I need you to remember. When adding or subtracting, we have rules, remember? And the rules mostly work when you're adding, okay? If signs are the same, we just add, okay? And then we give the answer the sign they all have. If signs are different, we subtract, and then we give the answer the sign of the bigger number. Okay? You have to remember these rules to be able to do well in this section. Remember, if it's a subtraction problem, we can physically turn it into an addition problem. Like if it was a double negative, we can yeet that over and make a plus. If it's like -2 minus 3, we can give that minus sign to the number next to it and then physically go turn it into, I would give that sign right here to the -3 and then turn it so now it's -2 plus -3, okay? You have to remember those rules to do well in this chapter. A new thing you have to remember is when you're adding and subtracting fractions, you have to have common denominators, okay? Common denominators are super, super important for you. Now, not all of these are fractions. I mean, if you look right here, that's not fractions. That's decimals. So you have to line up your decimals before you can add and subtract, okay? So let's look at okay, so now I'm on page 50, not page 52. But if we go to page 50, I have 2.7 plus -3.4. Signs are different, so we subtract. So I'm going to take 3.4 and minus 2.7. Do you see how my decimals are in line with one another? I'm going to bring that decimal straight down so I don't even forget it. 4 minus 7, I can't do it. Now it's 14 minus 7 is 7. 2 minus 2 is 0. So my answer is 0.7. But then I always go back and I see who's the bigger number. 3.4 is bigger than 2.7. And 3.4 is negative, so my answer will be negative as well, okay? Now the book wants you to do this whole complex thing of like using a number line. I don't want you guys to do a number line. I mean, if you need to because it helps you, that's great. But I also want you to see that if you use these rules, it's so easy to not have to use a number line, okay? Signs were different, so we subtracted. I lined up my decimals, took the sign of the bigger number, so now this is my answer, okay? Let's do another example down here. Let's do C. Oh, hopefully you guys are taking notes on all this. I forgot to say that. Have your notebooks out. Take notes. This is 2.2, okay? 2.2, adding and subtracting rational numbers. Okay, so now we're on C. Signs are different, so I subtract. 2.1 minus 0.8. 0.3. Who's the bigger number? Yep, 2.1 is bigger, and it's negative, so my answer is negative 0.03. Okay? Let me see, what else can we do together? I'm flipping through my book, don't mind me. Okay, now let's go look at the fractions. E is super nice because they gave us common denominators straight off the bat, so I don't have to worry about that. But now I say signs are different, so I subtract. What's 3 minus 3? 0. keep my denominators, 0 tenths. 0 tenths is the same thing as 0. Okay? Okay, here's something huge. I cannot add, subtract, multiply, or divide a fraction by a different fraction if one of them has that. Mixed numbers. Okay, I have to turn my mixed numbers into irrational fractions. So what I do is I times these two, 1 and 4, times them, which is 4, and then plus this guy. So 4 plus 1 is 5, and then keep the denominator. Okay, and it's negative because there's this guy right there. Negative 5/4 plus 3/4. Okay, we've got common denominators already. Signs are different, so we subtract 5 minus 3 equals 2. Keep my denominator. 5 is bigger than 3 and 5 is negative, so it's going to be negative. Negative 2/4. 2/4 is the same as 1/2. This would be negative 1/2. Okay, so there's so much you guys really need to concentrate on this lesson. Not only do you need to worry about common denominators, you also need to worry about if it's a mixed fraction, you have to change it into a irrational fraction, okay? Improper. Sorry, I say irrational. It's improper. You have to change it to an improper fraction. So if it was like 3 and 1/9, you have to change that by timesing these, plussing that. So 3 times 9 is 27, plus 1 more is 28. Keep your denominator. You have to change those before you can do anything, okay? I wish I was here at school because, man, I'd love to do these ones with you and stress how important it is that you remember these few things. In your notes, write this down. Write down change mixed fractions to improper. You have to do that first, okay? Super important. Okay. I'm looking through the chapter to see what else we really need to talk about before doing your homework. Your homework, I'm looking at it right now. Let me see here. You guys would have page 54 through 55, 4 through 22. Okay, so let's look through some of them. Number 4 has common denominators. That's great. You just have to remember now my negative rules, right? Signs are different, so I subtract. Number 5, I see a disgusting mixed number. Oh, we have to make that into improper, okay? By timesing and plussing and keeping the negative. And then signs are the same, so I can just add. Okay, these are great. Decimals are fun. All you do is just, line them up. Signs are different, so I would subtract. .9, and then 4 is bigger than 3, so it's negative 0.9. Don't forget those negative signs. Number 8, I would change 4 into a fraction by saying 4/1, and then I would go and get common denominators after changing this into an improper fraction, times plus, okay? Huge things I don't want you guys to forget. I'll be very disappointed if you guys forget those big rules on your homework tonight. So many of them. First, don't forget your adding rules. Like, if signs are different, we subtract. If signs are the same, we add. And then you give the sign of the bigger number, blah, blah, blah. Don't forget the adding rules. Don't forget common denominators. And do not forget turning mixed fractions into improper, okay? Do not forget these rules when you do this homework. If you do, you're going to mess up, okay? As you can see, it's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of adding. It's a lot of subtracting. It's a lot of decimals, fractions. You have to just be on your game, okay? 13 and 14 want you to describe and correct the error. Okay, so you just go through, see what they did. I can kind of already see what happened here. It looks like they didn't line up the decimals nicely. Okay, but keep looking, see what they did. Ooh, I can already see right here too. Signs are different, so we subtract. Did they subtract the numerators? No, they did not. Okay, 15 through 17, it says plug this in for X and plug this in for Y. Okay, so go through there, plug in your X's, plug in your Y's. I don't think you guys have to worry about too much. Remember, I see some absolute value signs right there. Don't forget about those. Okay. Oh, and also on 17, it says negative X. X is 1/3, so your thing will be negative 1/3. Don't forget that negative, okay? Okay, 18, your bank account balance is negative $20.85. You deposit, which means you add $15.50. What's your new balance? Okay, so just go ahead and do that. Signs are different. You got it. You eat 3/10 of a package of hot dogs, and your friend eats 1/5 of the package of hot dogs. What fraction of the packet of hot dogs do you and your friend eat? You have to add these up, but you have to have common denominators. Okay? 20 through 22. I just want you to add all of these things together, okay? Now, first of all, you need to change these into improper fractions, okay? I need you to change these. So you would times them and then plus. That'd be 14, 15, 16, 17. Keep your denominator and keep its sign. And then I'm going to change this to a fraction already. So it's be 6/1 minus 17/4 times plus 8 times 2 is 16 plus 1 more is 17. And then it is over 8 and it's negative. But I'm going to bring down that plus sign right there. Bring down that plus sign right there. So my new equation is 6/1 plus negative 17/4 plus negative 17/8. There's not a one single common denominator in the bunch, so I'd have to rechange all of them. I would pick 8 as my common denominator. Okay, so you guys can do this. You just have to take your time. If you rush through it, you're going to make mistakes, okay? So here's your homework assignment. I need you guys to do page 54 and 55. At the top of your homework, you have to write down that this is 2.2, okay? Write down what page numbers, and you are doing numbers 4 through 22 all, okay? All of them. I helped you out with quite a bit of them. Remember to show all of your work. Once you have them done, you do need to upload them to the Google Classroom. So take a picture of them, email them to yourself, click on that little weird Google Drive triangle button that's got like, you know, looks like a recycle button. Click on that button, it'll save them to your drive, and then when you're in Google Classroom, you click that add or create button. Once you click on add or create, it'll ask you to upload what, and you're going to upload a file, and from your files, you're going to click from your Google Drive, and then it should be in your Google Drive. If it's not, remember to close out of it, give it a second to upload it. It takes a few minutes for your pictures to get to your Google Drive, and then try again, okay? Now, I know you guys will not have a problem with this because we've practiced it so much, but you have to turn them in, okay? You have to hit turn in. Okay, guys, good luck. If you have any questions, email me, okay? All right, bye-bye.